What's happening and welcome back. Have you ever looked in the mirror and said to yourself, man, I think something has to change? Or have you looked in the mirror and was like, man, I look good as all get out? Or have you looked in the mirror and what you saw in the mirror was something that wasn't actually there? Today, we're going to look in the mirror and what the truth is behind looking in the mirror and how the mirror can teach us so many lessons about our life. So, I recently did a post on Facebook, and the post was because I had recollected one of these memes that I saw, maybe not a meme, just a picture. I recollected a picture that I saw of a cat looking in the mirror. And what was in the mirror looking back at the cat was a lion, a huge lion, one with the mane. And I remember, it just captured my attention. And, because it captured my attention because I'm looking at him saying, well, could the cat actually be thinking I feel like a lion? Oftentimes we don't necessarily feel like the person that we know we want to be. Because I can tell you, like, there's many days when I wake up, and there's many days when I go through the motions and I don't feel like the person that I want to be. What's interesting is that I had heard a proverb a few years ago that I had never heard before, and but it's fitting for what we're talking about today. It's in Proverbs chapter 27, verse 19. It says, just as water mirrors your face, so your face mirrors your heart. So think about it. Looking in the mirror, whether we see the physical manifestation of the person, it's going to reflect the person that is within, the person that we want to be. So think about the person that you are. When I was writing the book, Living Life on the Next Level, and there's a chapter or a sub-chapter titled Looking in the Mirror. And I probably got to play on looking in the mirror because there's a guy that I followed a couple of years ago, David Goggins. He had this thing about the mirror. But looking in the mirror, what it does, it removes everybody, it removes everything, and it only puts us face to face with who we are. No matter what it is, it's almost like sometimes we should just take off all our clothes. Like when you get in the shower, you've got that mirror sitting in front of you. Take off your clothes and you look. And what do you see? What do I see? What do I see when I'm looking in the mirror? Do I see, the fact that, man, I do got a couple extra ones, which is interesting, but at 52, they say the older you get, well, they say the older you get, the harder it is to do certain things, or the harder it is, especially for a guy, folks that are in their 50s and 60s. These days, most of us have lost a lot of testosterone. Testosterone is the thing that men use to build muscle. It's the thing that men use to really, really, really create energy for ourselves. And when we don't have enough testosterone, that can affect some things. So I look in the mirror and I'm looking and I'm seeing this guy. Like I'm looking now, like I'm looking at the camera. So the camera's like a mirror to me. It's interesting because the camera, me doing videos, helped me to see what I looked like. Helped me, like literally. I remember the first time I started doing videos back in probably like 2014, 2015. Started doing these videos, camera to face. I back then just used my phone, and I would go and look at I went and looked at the video. I was like, whoa, different person. Like if you were to see the person that I was then, you would not believe that I look this way today. But I'm the same person. I'm looking at that person. I'm like, man, I look so different, almost like older. This is 10 years ago. I looked older 10 years ago than I do today. How is that possible? The more you look in the mirror, the more you keep seeing yourself. And as you're seeing yourself, you start to see that hey, if I'm on camera, I should kind of like have somewhat of a smile. Hey, if I'm on camera, I should probably, just kind of like perk up and, have, I don't know, just look more of the part. Hey, I should at least do this or dress like this. Well, technically my dress, I just dress. I dress in my workout clothes. So that I'm not going to change. But for the most part, I'm looking at my face. Man, I look so much different now. I saw somebody recently and they said that. They said, Jay, man, you look younger. You look younger today. Now, here's the thing. I was always younger. I was always this way. Because when you look in the mirror, what it does is it gives you feedback. I'm talking about it gives you immediate feedback. And that immediate feedback says, okay, if this is what's on the outside, what's going on the inside? Because the face mirrors the heart. And so I have to then change from the inside. A lot of times we think a lot of the changes are on the outside. No, no, no. My changes are not on the outside. The changes that really affected my life the most was yielding my life to God, becoming a kingdom ambassador, kingdom citizen, becoming someone who had a mission and purpose, someone who thinks about what God wants from my life. That changed on the inside. There's no exterior. There's no exterior part of me that changes because of that. It's just that once the inside changed, all of a sudden the outside changes. See, because if a person said they wanted to lose weight, before they could lose weight, they would have to lose weight on the inside. They would have to know that they could do it. They would have to feel that they could do it. They would have to become on the inside the person that would actually lose the weight and take the weight off and keep the weight off. They'd have to do that on the inside, not the outside. The outside is the manifestation of what the inside is. So we all got work to do. Look, if you look in the mirror, you're going to always see something to work on. One of my first coaches says, look, if it ain't broke, you better fix it. What? The first time I heard that, I said, well, what do you mean? He says, well, think about it like this. There's not a successful business that's not constantly innovating the same thing that they're doing. Just look at all the companies that you love. You love the iPhone. If the iPhone did not innovate, if they stayed the same as the iPhone 1, we would not be talking about the iPhone because they'd be over. They'll be out of business, right? So they're constantly innovating. But let me ask this. Why aren't we doing that? Well, I'm doing it now. But why don't most people innovate themselves? There's a thing that happens in a person, because it happened to me. I had finished college. I was in the workforce. I think I'd already passed the CPA. I said, man, I ain't never going back to school, man. I'm good. No more school for me. I'm done. And I literally went through a phase of stagnation because I set myself up for something that didn't make sense, because you have to educate yourself. There's not a year that you should not be educating yourself on something. See, but this is hard because what we think education is a fallacy. Going to high school is not education. Going to college is not education. That's going to school, but that's not education. Because technically, most people that are educated in those things, they don't actually know how to do anything. I have proof. I have a lot of proof. And it's not even my own proof, because I didn't know how to do anything when I got out of college. Here's what I could do. Here's what I knew how to do coming out of college. I knew how to cut hair. I was a master barber. I knew how to do that. I was a master barber. I knew how to play basketball. I could have probably played overseas. If I really wanted to do that, I could probably have done that. I had to work harder. I would have had to pick up some more habits, but I probably could have done that because I knew how to do it. I did not know how to be an accountant, even though I went to school to be an accountant. Does that make sense to you? It didn't make any sense to me. At least back then, I didn't have any awareness of this, but now I do. And more proof. I was talking to my son and his girlfriend, and we were talking about school. It was like, man, we don't think I'm learning anything. I mean, they're learning something, but they're not learning anything. So what I mean by that is that they're learning how to do school. They're learning how to take tests, but they're not learning how to do the thing that they said they went to school for. They're just going to school for it. So when we look in the mirror, we have to say to ourselves, well, how can I continue to educate myself on me? Yeah, you thought I was going to say educate yourself on something else. No, you got to get educated on you, on who you are, what you love, what your capabilities are, what your potential is. Like that is everything. To literally be able to educate yourself on you. What if I told you, oh, you have a whole life already complete within you? Whole life is already completed. You're like, Jay, how do you know that? Well, when God had the thought of you, he created your whole life in one swoop. Whole life is done. Now you're living out an experience. And here's the thing. A lot of times we're not living the experience that God wanted us to live. But I'm gonna back up here and I'm gonna say this because a lot of times we don't get some of what I'm about to share. Oftentimes, part of the experience and education process that God puts us through, it's going to be challenging. It may be, tragedies involved. It may be like some hard situations involved. When you think of education is giving you an awareness, is giving you an understanding, is giving you wisdom through experience. See, because you can't know how to do anything until you've actually known how to do it through something. So the way that we learn how to do stuff is that we're put through all kinds of tests and experiences that then one day we look up and we're like, oh, I can do this. But it was because of all the things that happened prior. So if we're going to look in the mirror and if we're going to tell the truth today, let's realize something. The mirror always tells the truth. And the reason why the mirror can tell the truth is because the mirror can see everything that you have on the outside. It can tell the truth because the outside is a manifestation of the inside. Now let's look at the proverb again. I take it off. Just as water mirrors your face, reflection, so your face mirrors your heart. So your face, the reason why people told me I look younger is because it's my face now mirrors my heart. What's at the heart of me? God is at the heart of me. He's reflecting out of me. See, because back then, 10 years ago, I was still coming off of all of these lifestyle things that I used to do a lot. When I say lifestyle, I was like, I loved to socially drink. I'm not saying that that's wrong. It's not wrong. For me, what it was doing something to me that was reflecting something that I didn't want to reflect anymore. Now, when I stopped drinking, it wasn't so that I could reflect anything different because the one thing that I realized of why I had to stop drinking, I said, it's because I could wind up having high blood pressure. I could wind up having all kinds of issues with my life if I don't stop. So that was some motivation. But the reflection that I was getting was one that I didn't like. So then, You make a decision. You make a decision and you create a brand new picture, just like the cat. The cat looked in the mirror, but before the cat looked in the mirror, the cat had a picture of what it wanted to see. The cat said, man, I'm a lion. I'm gonna work myself so that I don't care if people see me as small, I will see myself as a lion. If the cat can see itself as a lion, who can you see yourself as? Look in the mirror, see the truth. Hey, and if truth needs to change, change comes from within. Make the change today. Account for your life. Guys, I thank you for joining me for this episode of the Account for Life podcast. This is Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace.
This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the Healthy Accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.